here to do my gumbo recipe that I said I'd do on TikTok. I'm just going to show y'all a basic gumbo. When you do your gumbo, you need to add extra stuff that you want to add for flavor. I'm going to show you my basic gumbo. This will just be how I do mine. And you don't have to do it exactly like I do, but it's going to give you a good idea of how to make a good gumbo. We start off with just some onion and garlic. So I'm making my own bouillon, my own broth for this gumbo. So I like to take these blue crab, split them in half, and I'll let this boil here for about 45 minutes. This is where you get your flavor. This is where most of your flavor from the gumbo is going to be, is in this broth. So I like to put the garlic, a little onion. I put a few peppercorn in it. And you'll let this simmer for almost an hour, probably around an hour or so, just to get the flavor, because you're not going to use any of this. This is just to get your broth for your gumbo. Now, if you want to, you can cook these crab for a little while, take them out, get the meat out of them, and put it in your gumbo. I like to do that when they're a little bigger, but we're up north and it's hard to get a bigger crab up here, the blue crab. So these are really just, to me, they're really good just to boil and get the flavor out of it. Down south where I come from, you can get bigger blue crab. All right. Then we got some shrimp. Now these shrimp here, you need the head on. You need to have the head on the shrimp for the flavor. You want the flavor out of the head. These are just small shrimp. They're just really small shrimp with heads on. I'm just going to boil the whole shrimp with the tail and all. Normally, I would just take the heads off, boil them to get the broth. But we're not going to do the whole shrimp. And then I will get some bigger shrimp to actually put in the gumbo. So this is, I don't put any salt. I don't put no salt or anything in there, just pepper, because you're going to want to flavor the gumbo later. And you're also, you add a little chicken broth also. So, and I don't make my own chicken bouillon. I just use chicken bouillon. But we're going to make this. We're going to let this simmer for an hour. Just medium heat. Get it to a little roll and boil, and just let it sit. And we're going to let it sit for an hour. I might go a little longer. That's going to be up to you of how long you want to actually let it boil. But it makes a really good flavor for your gumbo. So, and especially if you're doing a seafood gumbo. So, but anyway, I'm gonna let this boil. We'll come back once it's done, show you what it looks like, show you the broth of it, and but anyway, we'll see you then. Back, and this has been boiling for about an hour and 10 minutes, somewhere around there. Super hot, so I'm gonna get a rag here. All we're going to do is pour it, take it out, and strain it. We'll turn the eye off. Got it good and hot. Now we're going to strain it through a strainer. And this will be our stock. This is our seafood stock for the gumbo. I like to do my own stock. I've tried the store-bought stocks, seafood stocks. The chicken and beef are pretty good, but I haven't really found a seafood stock broth that I like, a bouillon. So I set that aside. Now what I'm going to do is I'll put these in the refrigerator for a while, these pieces of crab. I'll put that in the refrigerator, and later I'll get most of the meat out that I can get out of it. And then if you want to come over here and look at this, I'll bring the camera closer. Which, this is a really good stock. But if you feel like you need to strain it through something, if you feel like you got some shells or something, you can get one of these and strain it a little better. But I think we're good. I'll probably strain it right before I pour it into my gumbo. I'll probably strain this down again through that real thin one But I'm gonna let this cool for a little bit. I gotta let the crab cool, and then I'm gonna pull all the crab meat out, and then I've got to get my other ingredients ready. I'll make an ingredients list, and we'll show that on the video. But I gotta get all this done, and then get the ingredients in. Get all the ingredients cut up and ready. And once I get all that done, we'll be back, and I'll show you how to make the gumbo. The two most important parts to a good gumbo is your stock. You want really good stock. That's why I like to boil my own seafood, get my own stock, and you can add other things in here, but I like to boil and get my own stock, and your roux. That's two important things for a gumbo. You want a good dark roux, which I'll show you how to make a roux, and I'll show you how to make the stock. I showed you how to make the stock. I will show you how to make the roux also. So, but anyway, as I get everything cut up and prepared, we'll be back and we'll show you the rest of it. See you in a little bit. All right, we're back. I've got all my ingredients cut up, sliced, and I'll kind of tell you what I got here. I've got green onions for decoration at the end, and I like the flavor of it. I have my chicken stock. I have my seasonings, which is Tony Sachet, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and our cayenne. And we use Tony Sachet. That's one of the brands we use. Then I have my onions, my celery, and my bell pepper cut up here. That's your mise en place, or your they like to call it the Holy Trinity down in Louisiana and in the South. So this is your base for your sauce also. Then I have my uncooked deveined shrimp, my flour to make the roux, which I'm fixing to do, and then we have our Cajun sausage. And then I like to add a can of clam juice and clams to it because it really gives a good flavor. And then we have our mixture here, which I didn't want to just dash it in every time. So I got some crystals, which I usually use the Louisiana hot sauce. I'm kind of out of it right now. We got some Tabasco and got some Worcestershire, which I really like this brand here. And now I'm fixing to make the roux. If you don't know how to make roux, it's very simple. One day I'll do a video on roux. I'm not going to go through the whole process here and now of making roux, but you basically just add oil or butter, or you can brown your sausage, but you want a good oil in your pan. You add flour into it and mix it up until you get a roux, and then cook it down till it's dark. I'll show you the final product of my roux, but I'll do a video on roux one day. I'm not going to do that here today, so we're just doing the gumbo. But anyway, once the roux gets done, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Alright, I got my roux pretty close to being done here, so I'm going to show you that. If you ain't got one of these, you need one to make roux. You don't need it. It helps out a lot. Alright, so just show you this roux here. That's what I want, a real good dark roux. I might let it go just a few seconds longer, but I want a real good dark roux. That's going to make a real good rich flavor. If you want it to be dark, kind of thick, and this is what thickens up your gumbo. So, all right, now when you get your roux done, you want to add your vegetables, your bell pepper, onion, and celery straight to the roux. You want to add that in. Just mix in the vice, which will mix all that up. You mix your vegetables in there with your roux. That gives that roux, it'll stick to those vegetables, and then when you put your broth in there, it'll thicken up. But it'll kind of fry those vegetables just a little bit before you put your broth in. You want to fry them just a little bit in that roux. It's going to help darken that roux, and it's going to help make those vegetables really combine with that flavor of that roux. And I got my stove set on about a medium heat. Just make sure you don't burn your roux, because that is a burnt roux is not nothing you want to. It's not something you want to taste. So we're going to go with this here. It's looking pretty good. Now we're going to add I got minced garlic. We're going to add our minced garlic. Stir that up. Like I said, I got it on about a medium heat. This is our chicken stock. We'll do it first. The chicken stock has, I took those crab that I boiled. I took all the crab meat out that I could get out. I'll mix it here with the chicken stock. I want to stir that. Now, the reason I did my chicken stock first is because now that you're seeing it, now that it's starting to thicken up because of that juice, you want to add this to get the consistency and thickness you want. And the more it cooks, the thicker it's going to get. So right now it's pretty thick, and I have more of this stock if I need it. But I'm going to add a little bit of this, about half of it, I guess. And I'm going to add my clam juice and my clam because it's got juice in it too, so I want to go ahead and add that. And I just use chicken of the sea. It's nothing special, just chicken of the sea clam and clam juice. That's one of my favorite ones. All right, at this point, we're looking at our thickness. We'll probably go ahead and add our soy sauce, hot sauces, stuff like that. That'll give it some flavor. And at this point, we'll go ahead and add these seasonings. Add all the seasonings. Go ahead and let them be stirred in. All right, so now you got your vegetables, you got your roux, you got your broth and your chicken broth and your seasonings and everything in there. I like to add my shrimp towards the end because I don't want to overcook them a lot. You know, you don't want to add your shrimp at the very beginning to me, but your sausage can go in at the beginning. It's not going to really break down or fall apart. Now I've got this turned up to get it to boil, so because we want it to start rolling a little bit. And as it cooks, it's going to thicken, trust me, because the roux. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this broth because it's going to thicken up a lot as it cooks. So I'm just going to add the rest of my seafood broth, my homemade seafood broth, which is my favorite way to do it. And then I'm going to add my sausage. And okra. I add okra into it too. To me, a seafood gumbo has to have okra. It gives it a good texture, and I love to eat the okra with it. Alright, so now at this point, I'm going to let this set and simmer probably for around 30 minutes because overall we're probably going to let it cook for about an hour, hour and a half. I like to let it simmer for a long time. And then about at the hour point, is where I'm going to add my shrimp. And we'll come back when we do that. When we add the shrimp, we'll come back and show you what it looks like then. And but anyway, until that point, I'll see you then. Alright, I'm back. It's been cooking for, I don't know, about 40 minutes or so. I'm going to go ahead and add my shrimp. Then before I add the shrimp, I'll show you kind of what it looks like. So this is a good consistency of it. So we've cooked it down for a while. Now it's got a good thickness to it. Now we're going to add the shrimp. Just add these right in here like this. We're just going to stir them in. And we're not going to let these cook long. We'll let them cook. I'll turn it up just a little bit and we'll let it cook for probably about 20 or 30 minutes. And then they'll be ready. The main thing about gumbo is just put all your stuff in there that you want. You can design it however you want. I'm just showing you the base of how you can do it. And then you have to do your own tasting throughout to add more or to take, whatever you want to, like, never add too much at the beginning because you want to be able to add more at the end. You can't ever take it out, but you can put more in. So that's pretty spot on. I might put just a little bit more Worcestershire in it. It's got a good heat to it, a good kick. But once you put it in, you want it a little salty because once you mix the rice or cornbread, I love it with cornbread. But we're going to do rice today. But once you mix this with the rice or the cornbread, you want it a little bit saltier here because that white rice is going to be bland. So, but it makes it really good. So anyway, I might add just a little bit more Worcestershire, but other than that, it's perfect. All right, we're back. Got my spoon here. We just finished the gumbo. It's super good. So I got it here fixed up in the plate. Got some rice in it. Got the gumbo. Sprinkled little onions over it. Let her get a zoom in of that so she can see it. Alright. Now we're going to try a bite of it. Take a little bit of rice, a little bit of gumbo, a little bit of everything. It's going to be hot, so. It's hot, but that is some good gumbo. Man, it's better than the last one I made. I made one a while back, and everybody wanted to see the recipe, so I did the recipe on it, and this was even better than the last one. I really recommend you trying it. Make your own ingredients if you can, your own broth and stuff if you can. It makes it so much better. But use as fresh as ingredients you can get. But anyway, as always, I want to thank y'all for watching. God is good to us all the time. Jesus loves you, and so do we. And we'll see you next time.